Welcome to the Deep Dive. We often look at ancient art and just admire how beautiful it is, stunning stuff. But today, we're going deeper. We're exploring how these amazing pieces were actually, well, tools. Tools for power, for deep spiritual beliefs, and this incredible human drive for immortality in the earliest civilizations. Okay, so let's unpack this a bit. How did art end up serving these huge fundamental roles? Not just showing what society was like, but actively shaping it.
Our mission today really is to kind of journey through these ancient worlds. We want to understand that deep connection, that sort of interwoven link between art, creativity, and just the human experience itself. We'll be hitting on the silent stone guardians of Mesopotamia, the sun-kissed tombs of Egypt, those incredible terracotta warriors in China, and the just luminous divine mosaics of Byzantium.
Yeah, and what's so fascinating, I think, is that when we're talking about art from way back then, we're really going way beyond just, making things look nice. It wasn't just about aesthetics. Early art, it had these really deep, often sacred purposes, practical ones too, political ones. And if you look at the bigger picture, you start to see how creativity wasn't just there. It actually shaped civilization, but it was also shaped by civilization, driven heavily by rulers, by religion. So our goal really is to get a handle on how all these powerful forces kind of came together, intertwined, and gave art this significance that honestly still resonates today.
Right. Okay, so let's kick off in Mesopotamia, those silent stone guardians you mentioned. When I picture them, I see these enormous figures, kind of intimidating almost. They weren't just statues sitting in a plaza, were they?
Yeah.
How did they embody something much bigger than just carved stone?
Exactly. They weren't just statues. Those huge figures, the massive winged bulls or lions with human heads, the lamassu. They weren't just decoration at the gates. People believed they were filled with powerful magic. Apotropaic magic is the term. Basically, they actively fought off evil spirits, chaos, trying to get into palaces, into cities. So putting them at doorways, these key points, it was a physical statement, a manifestation of the king's power as a divine right, his job as protector, even carving them, putting them in place. It was like a ritual, an act of defense to keep cosmic order, under the king's rule. So yeah, guarding against threats you could see, but also the unseen stuff, all for the king's realm, its stability.
Wow, okay. That completely changes how you see them. Not passive art, but active protectors.
Yeah.
Okay, so then we shift over to Egypt, the sun-kissed tombs. The art inside, the hieroglyphs, those amazing colorful frescoes, all the objects arranged just so it screams afterlife, right? But it feels so incredibly specific, so meticulous. What exactly was all that art doing to make sure the pharaohs lived forever?
Oh, it absolutely is about securing that afterlife. But yeah, with incredible precision. It wasn't just illustration. The art in those Egyptian tombs, it was, well, functionally critical, essential for the dead person's journey, their existence in the duat, the underworld. Every single image, every prayer from the Book of the Dead written down, every little object, like those Shabti figures, they were meant to come alive and do work for the deceased, even symbolic food for them to eat. It was all meant to literally help the deceased's kala, their life force and their soul, to navigate the afterlife and get back to the body. So art becomes this active player, almost magical really, in the spiritual process. It's a direct response to this complex religion. And remember, the pharaohs were seen as living gods, divine authority right there. They were literally making a roadmap, a whole support system for eternity.
A support system for eternity. That's quite a commitment. Okay, fast forward to China. The Terracotta warriors. I mean, it's just the scale of that army is genuinely mind-blowing. Was it just a massive show of power? Or was there a deeper belief, a different kind of vision for the afterlife behind building all that?
Indeed. The Terracotta warriors, they're just a stunning example, aren't they, of how one powerful ruler, Qin Shi Huang, could manifest his influence through art on this epic scale, almost unprecedented. And it's not just an army for protection like guards, it's more like a whole spiritual entourage, making sure the emperor kept his power, his comfort, his control, even after death, mirroring his earthly kingdom, basically. What's really incredible, though, is how each warrior has a different face, suggests a belief in, individuality even after death. And they were originally painted, vibrant colors, most of that's gone now. The sheer technical skill, mass production, yet individual details that tells you so much about the emperor's absolute power. His cosmic mandate, almost. It was about cementing his legacy, his control, not just in life, but forever. It's earthly power projected with this startling realism straight into the spiritual world.
From that kind of individual immortality focus, we seem to shift a bit with Byzantium, right? The divine mosaics. You see them in churches glowing with gold, these intricate patterns. How did their purpose change compared to, say, Egypt or China? Moving maybe from personal power to something communal, spiritual awe.
That's a great way to put it. Yeah, the Byzantine mosaics, they definitely shifted the focus. Less about the ruler's personal afterlife, more about glorifying God, reinforcing Christian beliefs for the whole empire. Now, emperors were still involved, definitely supported the church, but the main sacred purpose here was liturgical. Teaching, basically. Didactic. They literally transformed the church building, made it feel like a heavenly realm. A bright, glowing storybook for people who mostly couldn't read. Those shimmering gold tiles, the tesserae, they were often set at slight angles to catch the light, created this ethereal, otherworldly feeling. It was about inviting everyone into a shared spiritual experience, communal devotion. So here, creativity was really shaping collective belief, pulling the worshipers right into this big, shared spiritual story.
So bringing this all together, what does it tell us looking back? It seems so clear now. Art wasn't just background noise, was it? It was this really potent force, not just reflecting things, but actively embodying power, belief, that deep human desire for something permanent. Across all these different cultures, consistently serve these profound, you could say, sacred purposes, right? And undeniably shaped by both earthly rulers and religious conviction.
Exactly. And if you connect that to the bigger picture, these examples really show powerfully how creativity shaped civilization, but was also shaped by it. It's a two-way street, which I think raises a really interesting question for you, for everyone listening. What do these ancient ways of using art tell us about human desires that just endure?
Right.
What does it reveal about our sort of universal search for meaning, for leaving a legacy, for connecting to something beyond our own short lives? And maybe what does it say about the lasting power, the truly transformative impact of creative expression in trying to achieve those deep aims?
That is a really profound thought to end on. Makes you wonder, doesn't it? How will people, thousands of years from now, look back at our art, our creations? What will they think it reveals about us, about our deepest hopes and fears? Keep digging, keep exploring, and keep marveling at this incredible, active, ongoing story of human creativity.